Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Smoke Sammy and today I'm reading some Am I the Villain posts. So this first one, my uncle actually sent it to me. So, yeah. Am I the villain for not changing how I live for my stepson's girlfriend? My stepson is living with us right now during summer break from college. About a month ago, he asked if his girlfriend from college, Liv, could stay with us for the rest of summer because she's going through a rough time at home. I wasn't fully on board with the idea because we already have our 2 kids in the house and having 4 adults and 2 kids in our space is a lot. My wife has a soft spot for Ben and struggles to say no to him, so my concerns were dismissed and now Liv is living with us until they go back to school. There have been a few issues that come up since Liv came, pretty much all of which have to do with me. First, one of the big reasons Liv wanted to change her living situation is because her parents are alcoholics. Now, I don't drink every day, but I do have alcohol in the house, and I like to imbibe with a meal sometimes or have a few cocktails on the weekends. This is triggering for Liv to see a parent drinking around kids. Second, Liv is vegan. We eat a lot of meat in our house. Pretty much every meal has a meat involved. I also hunt, so we eat meat that I have harvested, and I have a few mounts on the walls. This makes Liv especially uncomfortable. Ben and Liv sat down with my wife and I this past weekend and offered some suggestions to help make Liv's time here easier. Their first suggestion was that if I want to drink, I should do it in private and not around the kids. I tried to interject when they suggested this, but they asked to let them finish before saying anything. Their next suggestion was to allow Liv to cook vegan meals for us so that we didn't eat so much meat all the time. She offered to do grocery shopping and meal planning to provide meals for us instead of our usual meals. Finally, they asked if I could remove the mounts from the walls of the house until they go back to school in 6 weeks. When they finished, I asked if it was okay for me to talk, and they said yes. I told them that my answer to all of their suggestions is no. I told them that I appreciate Liv's offer to cook for us, and she is free to cook a few vegan meals for us during the week if she wants, but we are not going to completely change our diets for one person. But as far as their other suggestions, not happening. My wife spoke up and said maybe it wouldn't hurt to try their suggestions for a little bit and see how things go. She said it's only 6 weeks and that changing our lifestyle a little bit for a short period wouldn't kill us. I told all 3 of them that if they want to change the way they live, they are free to do so. They are not going to force me to change the way I live in my own home for a temporary guest. I told them if it means I cook separate meals for myself, then so be it. But the mounts stay, and if I want a beer or a glass of wine, I'm going to have one. All 3 of them think I'm being unreasonable and that they aren't asking for too much of me for a short period of time. Okay, no, I don't think this guy is a villain because she's staying with them for free, it sounds like. And I don't know, I can't imagine somebody opening up their home to me and then me saying, all right, we're going to make some changes. Like, remove decorations from your house, completely change the way that you eat, and also not allowed to enjoy a drink around. I understand that, like, alcoholism is a problem, and it's not a good environment for kids to grow up in if their parents are alcoholics, but this is not an abuse of alcohol. It doesn't sound like. He's just having a drink with dinner sometimes. He says it's not even every day. So it's okay for him to have a healthy relationship with alcohol and sometimes drink it around his kids. And I think that actually makes him a better role model for kids, showing, like, this is how you're supposed to do it, not overdo it. Don't depend on it. Just, enjoy it every now and again. And the vegan thing, I think, yeah, she is welcome to cook her own meals, right? And it's even to the point where he's like, you know what? Go ahead. All of you, change your diet, but don't expect me to change my diet. And I think that's extremely fair. So, yeah, that's just wild to me that they sat down and were like, yeah, let's make some changes around here. Like, no. I agree with this comment. Top comment says she's lucky to be a guest in a house and guests should never make these kinds of asks. It's not polite or respectful. If your lifestyle is so hard for her, then your home is not a safe place she needs and she should make other arrangement. I agree with that. Obviously, I feel for her that she's in a bad situation at her parents' house, but if this other situation is also not a good situation for you, don't try to change it. Just go somewhere else. Figure something else out. Or figure out how to cope with the things that are around you. Oh, and this other comment says it really good too. Why should her feelings matter if yours don't? Why is everybody making changes to cater to her feelings without, like, considering the comfortability of the person who already lives there? Like, not the villain. Am I the villain for causing a neighborhood feud over a gnome? Hi everyone. I live in a usually peaceful suburban neighborhood where everyone gets along, until recently. It all started when my neighbor, Tom, placed a flamboyant, suggestive, rainbow-colored lawn gnome in his front yard. This gnome isn't just any gnome. It's about 2 feet tall, posing provocatively, and adorned with a rainbow hat covering its private parts. It's been the talk of the neighborhood and quite frankly an eyesore. Most of us have kept our opinions to ourselves, but the gnome is directly across from my living room window. Oh no, it's seen. And it's been driving me nuts. In a moment of frustration, I decided to take action. One night, I sneaked over and moved the gnome to Tom's backyard, thinking it would be out of sight, out of mind. You broke into his backyard? The next morning, Tom was furious. Yeah. He knocked on my door and demanded to know if I had anything to do with his missing gnome. I tried to play it cool, but eventually I admitted what I did. Tom was livid and accused me of trespassing and vandalizing his property. He also revealed that the gnome was a symbol of pride and acceptance for his recently out son, and it had a deep sentimental value. Now Tom has rallied a few other neighbors against me, saying I disrespected his property and crossed the line. Some neighbors are accusing me of being homophobic, which was never my intention. I genuinely didn't mean to cause this much trouble. I just wanted some peace and quiet without that suggestive gnome staring at me. Am I the villain for moving my neighbor's rainbow gnome without permission? Yes? Wait, okay. Peace and quiet? Is the gnome making a ruckus? It's a gnome. It's so... Just don't look at it! Close the blinds! What? It's a gnome. I don't know. Yes, you're the villain for trespassing into this guy's property, touching his things, and moving them. Am I the villain for ruining my own gender reveal party? I'm pregnant with a baby boy due in November. My fiancé and I didn't care much about the sex of our child, so we didn't make too much noise about it once we found out. The only people we'd informed were our parents, their partners, and our siblings. Prior to this, my father's girlfriend of 3 years had been asking me about my plans for a gender reveal party. I've been clear about not wanting one. When I announced my son's gender to them, she expressed disappointment that I hadn't changed my mind about the party. I don't like gender reveals. Never have, never will. I prefer baby showers, which I think feel more about the actual child. I never tried to hide that opinion either. Days later, my father's girlfriend invited me over for tea at their apartment. My dad was out of town. When I got there, about a dozen people popped out of hiding to surprise me. There were pink and blue decorations everywhere, which made it pretty clear what was going on. As I stood there in shock, my father's girlfriend excitedly told me they were throwing me a surprise gender reveal party. Since I'd already told her, she'd taken it upon herself to order a cake with colorful frosting, decorate the apartment, and invite a bunch of people over. The guests included her mother, who I don't get along with, some of her friends, my mother-in-law, and 4 of my friends. As I later found out, my mother-in-law and friends had been told I'd changed my mind about gender reveals. Oh, interesting. I had not. Still in the doorway, I looked over at everyone and said, "It's a boy. You can all go home now." I left without looking back. Hours later, my father called me furious that I'd ruined the party. He said his girlfriend had put a lot of effort, money, and love into planning it, and I should have shown some respect and gratitude for it. Apparently, she hadn't stopped crying since I left. It's been almost a week and they're both still upset. Even after I explained I never wanted the party in the first place, they're insisting I could have sucked it up for an hour or at least cut the cake. Am I the villain? No! You've made it so clear this whole time that you do not want a gender reveal party, so why? Why would she take it upon herself to put in all this work for something that she already knew you didn't want? That's just stupid. What did she think was gonna happen? Ooh, interesting. So the top comment says, "This smacks of her trying to prove that she cares about you more than your mom, especially seeing as how either your mom wasn't invited or she turned down the invitation to respect your wishes. She doesn't seem to get that the way to prove she cares about you at all is to actually listen to what you want." And OP confirms that her mom was not invited. That's so shady. What? Oh, and OP also says that she thinks the real reason that the mom wasn't invited was because she wouldn't back up father's girlfriend. And she would have told OP and ruined the surprise. Which just goes to show how much the father's girlfriend knew OP didn't want it. Why? I don't understand the thought process. Why would she do this? Not the villain. Am I the villain for calling my coworker attractive? I work in a small team in a moderately sized tech company and haven't had any interpersonal issues until this happened. A coworker, late 20s, and I were eating lunch together. We got to talking about the experiences and struggles of being a woman in tech. Fucking bug. I'm more of a tomboy, and she's more flamboyant, bright colors, heavy makeup, jewelry, purses, etc., and also has a fuller figure. We are on the same team, but don't usually work closely together since she's more front-facing toward customers and sales, and I'm the back-end coder who maintains part of our infrastructure. So I thought we were having a surprisingly good conversation, and I was enjoying it, but I made a comment about how one thing I've noticed about being a woman in a tech company is that it's harder when you aren't conventionally attractive, and I pointed to myself. Then, because I thought we were getting along, I got vulnerable and gestured to her and said that she's more conventionally attractive than me. She immediately made a sour face and shut down the conversation. I tried a few times to ask what she was mad about, but she said she didn't want to talk about it and wound up leaving even though we still had plenty of time for the rest of our lunch break. I found out from another coworker that she has been spending lunches eating alone at her desk and that she's been acting mopey and withdrawn. I don't think I said anything offensive when I called her conventionally attractive, but am I missing something here? Does the phrase have multiple meanings? Please help. I'm absolutely willing to apologize, but I want to understand what it was I did wrong first, and she won't talk to me about it. That's a backhanded compliment. Like, it is nice to be conventionally attractive and, like, for someone to say so, but not at the expense of her own ability. OP basically implied, like, you're having an easier time because you're conventionally attractive, when one, she's already assuming that this coworker has an easier time when she might not at all. And two, it's shutting down her achievements by saying, like, oh, well, you're pretty, so, you know, you don't have to have as much skill, you don't have to have as much talent to be in this. So, yes, you are the villain. I see why she's upset. Am I the villain for not punishing my daughter for what she said? My husband and I are slightly more well-off than my sister's family. Because of this, my parents do more for them than they do for us. When it comes to gift, my daughter, age 7, gets things from the dollar store while my nephews get whole Lego sets, iPads, and even Disney trips. Jesus. Just because of a slight wealth difference? That doesn't seem proportionate. If my sister needs babysitting, they will drop everything for her last minute. If I need it, I have to give them a 2 weeks heads up as well as proper payment. What the? This just sounds like favoritism. Like really blatant, obvious, evil favoritism. Because of this clear favoritism, my daughter doesn't have a good relationship with them. Well, duh. If you ask her about her grandparents, her mind automatically goes to my husband's parents because she forgets she has 2 pairs. Earlier today, we have a rare meetup with my parents. My daughter asked if she can go on the trampoline outside. My dad said no, because it's for my nephews. My daughter begged, but dad still said no. Maddie then stomps away and said this is why I like other grandma and grandpa more. My parents looked at me expectantly, but I didn't do anything. I recently got off a call from my mom saying I should have told Maddie that was wrong to say. Well, it was wrong to deny her the trampoline. I told her, what do you expect? She thinks y'all hate her and y'all do nothing to dispel those thoughts. She just got quiet for a bit and then said I still shouldn't let her say something like that to family and hung up. My husband is on my side, but he also isn't a fan of my family, so I need an outside opinion. Am I the villain? No! What? Edit. To make some of you feel better, we don't bring her around them often. She only sees them on holidays with the rest of our extended family. We were only visiting today to get something that was left in a will. As for babysitting, I only have asked twice in extreme emergencies and they said no. I have talked to them about this, but they still say it's not favoritism. She just needs less help because we're better off. No, that's favoritism. A trampoline? Really? The slight wealth difference justifies her not being able to jump on a trampoline that's for her nephews? They're not gonna know. And even if they did know, who cares? It's not like they can't use a trampoline anymore because she jumped on it. That's just cruel. Update. Just got off the phone with my uncle. Apparently dad called him ranting about how disrespectful we are. Apparently this all stems from me going to college. Dad said since I had to be all hoity-toity and go to college, I shouldn't need his help and I should be living the easy life. He also said I'm selfish for trying to take help away from those who need it. Not sure what to think about all that. He's never brought up having a problem with that before. I'm going to discuss this with the rest of my family because with the holidays approaching, I don't want to cut everybody else out to avoid them, so I'm going to ask how they feel about this. That makes no sense. That the dad resents OP because he went to college? Isn't that what parents usually want for their kids? Not the villain. It's their own fault, and I don't see why they would even expect her to be all nice and polite when they treat her so bad. Yeah. Alright, well that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. go ahead and leave a like and a comment. Let me know if there's any other subreddits that you want me to look at. If you like this content or if you like me, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!